Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Jeffrey Epstein Show. I'm your host, Bobbycapucci, and this is a morning update. Hey, what's up, everybody, and welcome to the program. It's Friday. That means that you all made it through another week. Give yourselves a pat on the back. And you're now staring down a couple of days off. So I hope that all of you who were off this weekend get to enjoy that time off and hang out with your family, your loved ones, whatever it is that you enjoy doing to relax. I hope that's what's in store for you this weekend. Me? Well, got some UFC, there's some hockey on, got some football on Sunday as well. You know, typical weekend for your boy, sitting around, being old, watching sports, putting in some degenerate wagers, probably hitting the mountains for a little while at some point. But mainly, I'm going to be focusing on the podcast this weekend, I think. Hanging out, answering some emails, just being a all-around mushkaleen. And it doesn't help matters that I got this new computer game called Crusader Kings 3, and I'm like addicted to playing it all of a sudden. I feel like I'm 14 again. It's so immersive, this game, I can't even put it into words. You're in control of everything. It's like a grand strategy game. So the idea is to have a royal family, a noble family. You could start as a count, a duke, whatever you want. And to progress that family from either the year 867 AD or 1066 AD all the way up to 1453. And all kinds of wild shit happens. You can get cancer, you get maimed in a battle. You name it, it's like the options are limitless in this game. So I've been trying to play this game a little bit, and oh my gosh, let me tell you what. It's frustrating as hell. Your boy thinks he has something going, and then next thing you know, he gets invaded by a foreign empire. Oh, man, I'll tell you. If you're into that kind of stuff, and you're into, like, strategy games, and you're history buff, and that kind of thing, I highly suggest picking this game up. But if you're looking to be productive, and you have shit to do, probably shouldn't get it, because I'll tell you what, I find myself, now I'm staying up till like 1 or 2 o'clock in the morning, playing this silly-ass game, then getting up at my usual 6 o'clock, and it's just, I feel like I'm in high school again. So, if you're into playing games, especially strategy games, and you want to give your brain a workout, Crusader Kings 3 is certainly where it's at. Alright, so on to what we're all here for. Today we're going to talk about Apollo Global a little bit more, and another face-saving maneuver that they're trying to pull off. Now, we know that Apollo Global is shrouded in fallout from the Jeffrey Epstein situation. We know that Leon Black has had to take a step back. We also know that they had a report, internal investigation that was conducted by a quote-unquote outside law firm that found out while there was some mistakes made, there was no malfeasance on the part of Apollo Global or on the part of Leon Black. And they're so worried about making sure that things are good in the future that they're going to appoint Jay Clayton, former SEC chair under Trump, as their new guy. You know, come in to make sure things good, compliance guy. That's what they hired Jay Clayton for. My question is, are we really supposed to trust Jay Clayton? Mr. Wall Street himself, the guy that Trump appointed to be the top cop on Wall Street? Can you guys refresh my memory? How many people went to prison for malfeasance on Wall Street during the Trump administration? Not very many. And a guy like Jay Clayton played a big part in that. So, while this might look good to people who are not in the know, for those of us who follow this case, for those of us who follow Wall Street, we all know that Jay Clayton is just another scuzzball. Let's jump into this article by the New York Post, and let's see how Apollo Global is trying to save face. Headline: Ex-SEC Chairman Jay Clayton joins Apollo board amid Jeffrey Epstein reckoning. This article was authored by Thornton McHenry. So they had the investigation, right? That didn't yield what they wanted. The public wasn't satisfied. So they had to move to the next step. All right, well, we have to have Leon Black step back. Public still not satisfied. All right, how are we going to save face? Well, let's get the ex-SEC chairman, Jay Clayton, to step on board. Meanwhile, you're bringing on a guy who is shrouded with his own baggage coming from the Trump administration. And secondly, we all know who Jay Clayton is. We followed Wall Street. We know the deal. This isn't somebody that you bring up and you hitch your cart behind. Give me a break already. Here's an idea. I know this is a novel idea, but here's an idea. Why don't you admit that Leon Black is a scumbag, cut all ties with him, and then you won't have to worry about saving face because the public will see that you actually mean what you say. In lieu of that, it's all talk. Apollo Global is getting a big name to fix its big problem. So, again, a big name doesn't automatically mean that somebody's good at what they do. A big name is just that, a big name. I want results, okay? I don't want fanfare. The private equity giant on Thursday named former Securities and Exchange Commission Chairman Jay Clayton as its lead independent director as the firm continues to reckon with the fallout from founder Leon Black's ties to Jeffrey Epstein. Again, you could end all of this. Leon Black should have nothing to do with the company. He shouldn't be on any board. He should be completely dismissed. And then he can go swim around in his billions of dollars staring at his picture of the Scream. Because in actual society, there's no place for people like this, okay? And I don't care how rich he is or how powerful he is or any of that jazz. That shit, it doesn't impress me. I don't care. This dude gets up in the morning and he puts his pants on the same way we do. Puts on his socks the same way we do. And guess what? If he cuts his finger, he bleeds the same way we do. So why should he not be criticized the same way anybody else would be? So, F Leon Black, F Apollo Global, and F this move to hire Jay Clayton. Put that in your pipe and smoke it. An independent investigation at the $455 billion firm revealed in January that billionaire Black paid the sex criminal, pedophile, who committed suicide in prison in August 2019, allegedly, $158 million between 2013 and 2017 for professional advice on tax audits, wealth management, and estate planning. So, basically, I don't want to rehash this, but we have to address it right here. $158 million for advice. He paid more money to Jeffrey Epstein for quote-unquote advice than the historically black colleges get in financing from the government. Chew on that for a minute. I know it makes me violently ill. It should do the same to you. The obscene amount of money that we're talking about here, folks, it's hard to wrap our minds around. It's just numbers on a page to us, right? But think about it. Think about how life-changing it is when we get a few $1,000s. I mean, I'm certainly not rich. You know, I've had my days where a few $1,000 hasn't meant anything in the past, but these days, hell, a few $1,000s is a big deal. Now think about $158 million. Think about how hard you work every single day for your salary. Then think about what Jeffrey Epstein raked in for his advice. And tell me that that sits right with you. Tell me that that sounds normal. Now, we're not talking about a helpless man here with Leon Black, somebody who had no access to advice or professionals. This is a man surrounded by supposedly the smartest people in the room. But he has to go and get outside help, outside counsel from Jeffrey Epstein? Sorry, I'm not buying it. Since Epstein had no formal legal or financial training, that explanation left legal experts scratching their heads. Well, just to be clear, I am certainly not a legal expert. In fact, I am only an expert in sarcasm. But I'll tell you this much right now, it left me scratching my head too. There's no way in hell you can justify this $158 million for advice. Give me a break, okay? What is this guy running around? He's the Oracle of Omaha all of a sudden? Everybody has to have his ideas? Everybody needs his advice? Sorry. I don't believe that the most powerful people in the world, and that's who we're dealing with here, folks, needed Jeffrey Epstein's advice. Black69 announced that he will step down as CEO in July, but will nevertheless remain the chairman of Apollo's board. And there's the hustle, right? They're showing you what's going on in the right hand. That way you don't pay attention to the left hand. It's the age-old sleight of hand trick, and that's what they're doing right here. Oh, well, he's going to step down, but he's going to stay on the board. See, such a hustle. Leon Black needs to be completely and utterly jettisoned from this company. Launch this dude into space. Because he is not, and I repeat, not going to be able to avoid what's coming down the pipe. And Apollo Global, well, you better get ready for the reckoning that's going to come. When we get to a point where there's actual trials and evidence is being presented, and I'll tell you what, it is not going to be a good day for these people. That is certainly how I see it anyway. Clayton, 54, left the SEC in December and will return to the white shoe law firm, Sullivan and Cromwell, where he was a partner representing clients like Goldman Sachs before Donald Trump tapped him to be Wall Street's top sheriff. More like the sheriff of Nottingham. Oh, how many people did this guy put in jail? How many of these rich scumbags felt the hammer under Trump? Not many. Trump really didn't go after the white-collar crimes, and it was one of his biggest failures, in my opinion. It's not talked about nearly enough because it's not salacious, right? It's not, oh, Trump was in bed with insert dictator here. But sometimes it doesn't take the salacious nonsense, right? You got to get in and get into the boring work. Because a lot of times that's where the gems are produced. How long did I tell you, folks, that the Russia angle was garbage for the government to go after Trump that way? If you really wanted to go after Trump, you should have went after his financials from the jump. And now you see that, right? And you see the New York State going after Trump's financials. That's what should have happened from the beginning. But no. And this guy, Clayton, Jay Clayton, is just another swamp beast. Another person from the financial sector, another guy who is friends with all of these scumbags he's supposed to be policing. And they want us to think that he's going to go in there and completely and utterly be on the side of what's right. Meanwhile, he's drawing a paycheck from Leon Black. Lead independent directors often act as something of a check on the chairman of a corporate board, giving shareholders a voice and keeping an eye on how the chairman executes his duties. So this is the guy that we tap, huh? Jay Clayton. You couldn't find anybody else? Why Jay Clayton? What sort of relationship does he have with this company? How many people in this company has he worked with? How many people at Apollo Global have fattened his pockets? These are all the questions that need to be asked. Reports swirled in January that Black's co-founders Josh Harris and Mark Rowan had pushed for Black to leave the firm entirely in the wake of the Epstein revelations, but that a tense agreement was reached in which Rowan would take over as chief, but letting Black stay on as chairman. And when that whole thing was happening, I told you that I had talked to some of my sources in the financial sector, and they said that it was 100% legit, that this was happening. There was a battle royale in the boardroom, and that Josh Harris especially was keen on getting rid of Leon Black. And I don't see that changing. I don't see Josh Black changing his mind anytime soon, and I would expect there to be like an Abramson situation here, where we have a back and forth negotiation going on forever, basically, until Black is forced to step down. Because Josh Harris doesn't strike me as the type of guy that just gives up, right? Not the kind of guy that just says, all right, well, I've been had. You guys pulled an end around on me in the boardroom, got Rowan as the CEO, so I'm just going to give up. certainly does not strike me as the type. So expect more fireworks from this boardroom. Black said Thursday that he welcomes Clayton's addition to Apollo. I am pleased to welcome Jay Clayton as lead independent director of Apollo, Black said in a statement. We undertook a thoughtful and deliberate process and are proud to have someone as distinguished as Jay serve in this newly created role that reflects the strong corporate governance enhancements we continue to implement. Here's an idea. All of this could be avoided if you would shelve your pride and step down, Leon Black. But you won't. You're a power-hungry asshole who facilitated Jeffrey Epstein's abuse, helped fund his trafficking ring, and continued to remain friends with him even after his conviction. There is nobody on this earth that you can hire to fix that. If you'd like to contact me, you can do that at Bobbycapucci at protonmail.com. That's BOBBYCAPUCCI at protonmail.com. You can also find me on Twitter at BOBBY_CAPUCCI. For everybody who has donated to the podcast and helped support the podcast, thank you so much. And to the latest anonymous donation, thank you very much as well. All right, folks, I will be back later on, and we will pick up where we left off.